I went to a college and it was mainly just chicks,
Yeah.
and every day there was a fight. Every single day.
Because you believe that was because they were mostly women.
I don't know what it is, to be honest. I just
What?
think women are more sensitive in terms of like their emotions and they feel deeply. And so I don't know. I'm not an expert at it,
Well,
but that's what I'm saying. There was five guys. We all got along. Dude, there was never one fight in 3 years. There was not one fight between five guys. We got to college. We gathered together, and we immediately started making jokes for 3 years.
yeah.
Like, and every day there was these girls arguing and fighting. So
Okay,
I don't know what that is.
just to catch everyone up, what the reason this is coming up is because I discovered a statistic, um, which I found quite interesting, which is that there's like what the highest divorce rate amongst people who, even amongst same-sex marriages, female marriages apparently have the highest divorce rates. Um, as I just checked it out here on Google, and of course, Google AI gave me a response, but it's a summation of all the other um, searches or finds in the search. So divorce rates are generally higher in female same-sex marriages compared to male or opposite-sex marriages. Studies indicate female couples are roughly twice as likely to divorce as male same-sex couples, with some data suggesting female couples have shorter marriage durations. Heterosexual divorce rates frequently cite a roughly 50% lifetime risk, though annual rates vary. So,
Very. Okay.
yeah, well, I mean,
Very,
they have to be statistical
very
about
is what
it.
I'm saying.
Oh, vary.
No, I'm
Yeah,
just saying
very,
it's like
very
your African your African accent pushed through there, you know.
African accent. I'm just trying to speak in a way that is clear, not too South African hick.
South African hick. No, no, so
So then you started
obviously
talking about
I
Nike
didn't yeah.
as a way to underscore or support this fact. You started talking about at your school, at college,
Yeah,
there were
so
fights all the
basically what
time.
I'm saying is that I'm not saying it's one thing or the other. What I'm saying is that I went to a college. There was five dudes and there was what, 25 girls, 24, and every single day there was some type of argument with this group of girls or that group of girls or groups or a group that were friends before, and then there was an argument and a rift. But the guys, no, never had one issue with each other. From when we got there for 3 years, you would get to college, the guys group up together, and we just start making jokes the whole time. What would
Yeah.
actually happen is that the girls would try pull you into being on their side. Oh, did you hear what this one did? This one said this. Now, maybe we could look at the pool itself of people. Maybe if it was the other way around, if there was only five women and 24, 25 guys, that it might have been flipped. That I could see that as well. But based off of the data I have from there, it is something that we noticed.
Hmm. Hmm. So are you trying to suggest something along the lines of if there was a better balance, there would have been a better evening out, sort of the I guess what you're saying is almost that women tend to vie for the attention of men and men vice versa, but because there are fewer men, maybe there was less friction.
I don't. Honestly, I don't know. Okay, I'm
Okay.
not. I'm
You're
like
scared.
that's
It's
all
fine.
I
I get
can
it.
say. No, I'm not like.
Just say what you think, Mikey. Just say it
I'm
already.
saying.
We all know what you
I'm
want to say.
saying that based on my experience, those facts that you brought up about the marriages, I can see how that is a why that is a factor. Just based off of my own sort of social dynamics I experienced in college.
So you're not saying
Um,
that women are the problem, or you are?
Look, people, I guess, are inherently the problem, you know.
That's stupid.
But,
Because that's like saying,
but
nah, I don't know if that's
no,
okay.
but this, but I'm like obviously just talking nonsense. But I'm saying that men are there's this aspect of violence, right, that we have to be very careful of because a situation can escalate quickly.
Like just
Words are
two
not just
boyfriends just smashing
words.
faces.
No, like words are not just words because we know with guys it can get to very easily to a physical
Mm,
altercation. So we know this already, and you can probably base that in testosterone, right? But with women, it's I mean, for it to get to that, I mean, it's quite rare. So
no, no,
with
women
them, it's more
actually.
about like attacking reputation. It's about gaining um, the vote of everybody else. You know, if I can get, half the people, let's say 70% of the people saying that my story is more valid, then I kind of win, you know.
Um,
Um,
I think that also. Okay, but this could just be Netflix specials. Um, there seems to be like many murder cases, abuse cases, domestic violence cases surrounding female marriages. And the reason I'm bringing that up now, apart from the fact that it also was quite interesting to me, is that you mentioned when it comes to men, we tend to understand from an earlier age that you know this could lead to a physical altercation, and there's always the chance, the possibility that someone will get seriously hurt. Um, and I think this is just my biased perspective. I think you've got a point there. I often see women more ready for a fight, more ready to see violence as an outcome, even though they don't themselves want to be necessarily violent. And I think it's because they don't grow up being told every day, like, look, you can hurt someone. The wrong kick, you could kill someone. Because the emphasis is on teaching young men, if they are taught at all. We know some aren't, but being taught that, look, you could kill someone, so keep it together. Uh, yeah, that could be it. But also, also, what if? No, I shouldn't say that. Okay, let me just say it anyway.
just say
What?
it. You told me to say it, so just say it.
Okay, what percentage of lesbians actually want to be men? So not just, oh, I'm a woman and I'm in love with women, but how many of them actually wish that they could be men? And compare that to with gay men. How many of these gay men actually wish to be women? The reason I'm bringing up this question is because that personality dysmorphia, I think that's what it's called, like where you wish to be something else.
I think it's gender dysphoria.
Gender dysphoria, doesn't that also contribute to making making a marriage more difficult? Do you understand what I'm trying to get on here?
No, I do. I'm just trying to formulate
I mean,
some
I know
type
I'm
of
I'm just
idea.
shooting on the. Let me just see if Google has an answer for us. But while I do that, just ruminate on what I've said.
No, no. So you like I'm also trying to break it down as well because there's something you said in the beginning that's also very key, which is you said there was like a lot of abuse with female to female relationships. So, and it's obviously goes to that aspect of sort of being manly. So we know I mean, we grew up with some of those chicks as well who are the tomboy type. You know, they won't mind getting in a bit of a scrap with a guy, at least in those earlier years. So I can only imagine that if there's a one of the members in the couple are more butch and tomboy like, right? Then you're now removing the aspect of the physical altercation thing because they're not inherently men, right? And then you put them in the relationship, but the one is butch like a dude, maybe wants to be like a guy. So is then I don't know, maybe the pathway to actually getting physical is more likely, if I could think of it that way.
Trying to
You've
like
removed that
compensate.
cap of you've removed the cap of, okay, I need to be careful of actual violence because that just gets ugly and someone could get badly hurt.
Hmm.
um and then you have one who's more feminine because we know that they always take the gender role, right? One is more like the man, one is more like the woman.
Not
Even with
always, not
like,
always. That's what I was trying to point out. I mean,
look,
it does
in
happen.
pornographies, maybe there's
Well,
like both of them are just these girly ones.
no, that's not what I mean. Um, you don't have to put stereo because I already know. I can speak of an example. I know that role appropriation of, or not appropriation, just like assuming a role either more female, more male. It does happen, of course, but it's not. It's by no means the standard necessarily.
I think it's what I mean to say, like not male or female, but masculine and feminine. Feminine. That is, there's definitely that takes place. One is more masculine, one is more feminine. Um, and I don't think I've ever seen one where it's been two feminine
I
girls
know.
who are in a relationship or
I,
two
I know.
masculine girls who are in a relationship.
I actually know all three of those examples. I all
And
know all
I'm
three of
not
those
talking
examples.
about there's something weird in the water in Africa and that's what you
No,
see.
what the heck? I'm talking about, you know. But look, I found something. Um, very crazy question I asked. How common is gender dysphoria in gay women versus men? Data regarding gender dysphoria (GD) prevalence in cisgender men versus lesbian women. No, not cisgender. Ah, dude, not cisgender. I wanted. I specifically wanted.
Gay males. But cis just mean
No, I think cis means
like cis, you can be cis and you can be gay.
way to show your generation. Um. uh. You know. All right.
Dude, people make up stuff and then they expect you to know it. Like
Gender dysphoria and sexual orientation
CIS.
are
What does that
distinct,
mean?
but some studies indicate that early childhood gender dysphoria is more likely to resolve into a gay or lesbian identity than to persist into adult transgender identity. While gender dysphoria is not inherent to being gay, it is not uncommon for gay individuals to report higher rates of gender nonconformity. Okay, based on research regarding gender clinic referrals and identity development, here are key findings on how gender dysphoria presents in gay men versus lesbians. Gender dysphoria in gay men. Research suggests that boys with gender dysphoria that persists into adolescence often identify as gay. Some studies show that natal boys with gender dysphoria who do not transition may grow up to be gay men. Additionally, in some clinics, homosexual males have represented a proportion of those seeking care for gender dysphoria. I feel like this is just obvious. It's not really.
Yeah, that's why I wanted to ask, what were you trying to achieve by looking this up?
I was trying to see if it's more common in gay men or
Oh,
in
in
gay
males
women.
or females? I
Yeah,
look. I think in terms of that, it would be, I would say, more equal, because to be
Now that you've read the
gay, I
paper,
guess.
okay, cool.
No, just in like, in general, if someone is gay, lesbian, or male, I don't know. Uh, there's no real, there's no name for guys
Who are
being
gay, right?
homosexual, because no, but lesbians are also gay.
Yes, you're right.
So there's no actual name for guys.
Yeah, you call them lesbians, but you call them. I guess they used to have a word, but we're not going to repeat that now.
I was about to say it, dude. But anyways, it's back. By the way, you're allowed to say it again. Um,
The one of the F.
but yeah,
Since when is
um,
that back?
it's been back for a long, at least in my circle. Um, isn't it funny? This is a quick side note. Isn't it funny how, like, when guys get into a fight, that's like the first thing you start calling each other, like,
Yeah, right?
and that just escalates the situation, because you're like, "But you're not gonna call me that," you know? It's like, it's such a trigger, like that. Like, no, I'm not that. But anyways, basically, what I'm saying is that whether it's uh, a female or a male, if they're gay, then I would say it's equal, in terms of to take the next step to becoming transgender. You know, I don't see how
Mm.
it's like men who are gay will transition more than females. But you do get this other thing. It's called autogynephilia, um, which is where guys, they get off on dressing like women. Um, and I
Oh,
don't think you
okay.
get that for women,
You get
right? I
cross
don't like.
dressing.
Yeah, so it's they get off on like wearing the high heels and the panties and the dresses, and it's kind of like a kink to them. But I don't.
But they're
It
still
would be very
straight. They're
surprised.
still heterosexual.
um, that I don't know. It seems to me that,
Dude, listen,
because
listen.
they'll be married and stuff, but then it's like their little secret thing. They dress
Aren't those
up.
called cross dresses? And also, I do point, I accept the fact that you're telling the truth. Um, I don't know if it has a medical term, like, or a psychological term, like you've just,
Autogynephilia, you can look it up.
autogynephilia. Yeah, well, when a woman wears pants and a shirt, we don't refer to it as
No, but
autogynephilia. We
here's
refer to.
my question is this: is does, even if she does do it, I don't feel a sense that she's getting off on it like a guy does. You know, he's like, I'm so pretty. Like, look at my lips. I'm doing my lips and my nails, and I'm putting on these heels. And he's got a hard on the whole time. Like, do you think that a chick is doing that when she puts on pants and a suit? And
Is it
I don't know. I
gynephilia
could be
or
wrong.
autogynephilia?
I mean, I could be saying it wrong, but I think it's gynophilia.
Okay. Autogynophilia. Uh, hmm.
That's what most of those psychopaths have. You know, they wear the dresses and they kill the woman.
Okay, you're just quoting the script from Silence of the Lambs now.
No, but I'm saying the movie obviously comes from somewhere, but it's there's a lot of guys who had that condition and were serial killers of specifically women.
Okay.
Um,
Well, here you it is autogynephilia is defined as the sexual arousal by men through the by by imagining themselves as women, and is traditionally a phenomena by trans women. Oh, it's discussed as more discussed as a phenomena amongst trans women. Mm,
yeah, so basically what they're saying there is that some of these guys who they go into women's locker rooms in dresses and stuff, and they're standing there with a fool like a raging hard on in like completely naked in front of like other women, putting on lotion and stuff. Like the argument is that some of those guys have that autogynephilia.
yes.
It's not. It's like
So
a pervert essentially.
no. Don't let's not go there. Just hold on. Um,
It's what I'm saying. No, but some of the guys are perverts.
look.
You know.
Yeah. Hold on. Here, as long as they're not forcing themselves or touching anyone, it's fine. So according to this, here
I
the main
disagree, but
point.
okay.
There was a study in 2009 from Charles Moser, that tried to investigate this phenomenon, and it used a questionnaire. Um, by with like women born as women, right? To see if it could happen there. Um, Sorry, I'm translating from German. That's why.
Yeah, I'm just thinking like, do you get women that have autogynephilia?
Yeah. Okay. So what? The results showed that a majority of the questioned women, 93% in the according to the study, were sexually aroused, imagining themselves or by imagining themselves as women. Um,
Wait, is that
this
with
this
women or men? Because you said
they get
women
aroused by
imagining
imagining themselves as
themselves.
women. So this was given
The men do.
no 2009. There was a study from Charles Moser, and it investigated this phenomenon uh, by distributing a questionnaire. The questionnaire was called Autogynephilia Scale for Women to 29 professional women. Okay, the results showed that the
Strange.
majority of the questioned women, 93%, were sexually aroused or gained sexual arousal through the through imagining themselves as women. This hinterfragt is like this. It like makes you question the assumption or the definition that autogynephilia is exclusively a phenomena by trans women. So a trans woman is a man who's now a
Exactly.
woman, right? So
But
they're
I don't
saying
understand the study though. Like, why would women get aroused by imagining themselves as women? I don't.
I don't know. Okay,
Do,
well there
do you
was
see what
some
I'm saying? Like,
there was some
aren't they
critique.
already women?
Yeah, but maybe it's also arousing to them, like to also be like, oh yeah, I'm a real woman. I don't know. You get what I mean?
It's
Like
but you know what I'm saying? It's kind of like that's why I was asking.
so
Oh, you
so
mean
but that's what
men?
that's I guess the question of what this was trying to answer was exactly as you said, just because simply because you're saying that these men or these trans women feel arousal by putting on the makeup and the stockings
Yes.
and the high heels. What this is trying to say is no, that's actually something that also regular women get. Like regular women also, and it actually kind of makes sense because I don't know if you've ever
Yeah.
noticed, but you'll
Put
be
on a
like,
sundress. I feel pretty,
yeah,
like
you'll
a
literally be
girl.
telling your woman, um, or she'll be telling you something like, "Oh, I got these blisters from those shoes," and you're like, "Babe, just wear normal shoes. You don't have to put those on." But she still wants to
Exactly.
put them on, and you're like, "Okay, so clearly this isn't for me, right?
Yeah.
It's not for me that you're putting this on." But whatever. I'm just saying.
But that's the thing. That's why people will be like, "Oh, she dresses like a slut or something." But it's like, no, maybe she just wants to feel good, you know? And you're trying to say, "Oh no, she's presenting." Maybe she's like presenting to herself,
Hmm.
you know?
Yes, and that brings us to the second point of this study, which was a critique regarding that. A critique at the concept. The theory of the autogynephilics was developed from Ray Blanchard is often criticized because it presents the transgender sexual as a sexual dis- not disturbance disorder as a
Oh,
sexual
I see
disorder.
what you mean. It's more yeah, disorder. It's more based in like a sexual proclivity than actual
Yeah,
like
paraphilia they call it, paraphilic. Um,
oh jeez.
and so critics argue that using this term for women shows that the sexual arousal is rather through, or argue that the sexual arousal is rather through the own experienced femininity, which is actually rather normal, right? Rather than a disorder. So they're
So I
basically
think
saying
the
a woman wants to feel womanly, that's normal, is that she's aroused by her
yes.
own femininity. Um,
Is this okay, here's a question. Is
yeah.
that why guys kind of don't really care if their girlfriend or wife fools around with another chick?
Yeah, of course, because if it's fooling around with another, I mean, apart from the point where the person tells you, "Look, I want to leave you for a woman," and you're like, but I get what you mean. Like, you're not gonna feel if it's another
Is it
dude.
because it's like two women? It's like whether we're women or whether we're men, women have this aura that is like sexual, and we kind of accept it that way. So even if a woman becomes more womanly, she gets aroused. When a guy does it, he gets aroused. And
No, but I
maybe
mean, think
there's an
about this.
underlining thing that we understand that
If
as like
if
a
you're
society.
if you're in the sheets with your woman, right? And she's like, "Oh, you're such a man," right? And she goes like, "Oh, you're
Yeah,
such a man," or something like, "You're so big." Then doesn't that inspire you? Like, be honest. Like, obviously, you're now
of
feeling
course,
like,
dude.
yes. So actually, it's you could
Oh
say it
no,
or
the one I
argue.
got once was, why is it so big? You
Yeah,
know,
okay. It's not
and
time.
you're
It's not
like,
the time
yo.
for all these stories. But my point being, women doesn't that kind of mean that men also like to feel manly, and women want to feel womanly, like if they
but I don't think it means aroused. Like if a
it
man
does,
feels
it is
manly,
aroused. Let's be honest. When your
no, like
temper
for
was
me,
like,
if I feel manly, right, then I
and then you're like,
feel powerful. I
what?
might have like a veiny, like meat stick, but it's more like I feel powerful.
Yes, that's
I
your
don't feel
sense.
aroused.
That's your sense of arousal, obviously. That's the difference, you see. Um, I think so. I think I'm just putting it out there.
Like if a
Yeah,
girl tells me, "Oh, you're so manly," I will feel like cool. I feel like powerful. I'll lie there like with my arms wide and while she's tucked in next to me. I'm not gonna be like, "Oh my gosh, she called me manly," and then I start doing a deep dive. Like to me, maybe that's just my personal thing, but
yo,
to me, it doesn't really link up.
who said they're doing a deep dive, and what does a deep dive mean?
I mean, on her, say if I go like, what do you call it, dumpster diving, then like I don't feel like if a chick says, "Oh, you're so manly," um, and it obviously depends when. If she says it before we've started, of course that could turn me on. But I'm saying it normally happens afterwards. It's like,
Oh,
you rocked my world,
because oh, okay, Mikey,
Then
you
you
rocked my
sing
world.
back, you're
Ah,
the
what
best I've
movie have
ever
you been
had.
watching, bro? It's not like you rocked my world, you rocked
No,
my
I
world.
know. I'm specifically thinking about the scene from How I Met Your Mother. You know, that was
Okay.
like the specific scene that came to my mind. But it's interesting, these dynamics. But I do feel that going back to the fighting thing, I do feel that in this day and age, there's a big switch. Especially if you go out and you see like um, how the dynamics have changed. A lot of dudes are not approaching anymore, and a lot of chicks are doing the approaching. And it's almost like what we would call catcalling. They almost doing the dog whistle, which is I coined that term, dog whistle.
We,
That's when
what?
the females do it to the men. Like, "Oh, you got a tight ass there." I literally heard someone say that to a dude, and he was like blushing. And this was a
Wait.
tall guy, tall Afrikaans dude who was out playing
The woman
pool.
said that, like, yeah, you got a tight ass.
Yeah, then they were laughing about it, like looking at him, and he was like shy.
Well, he's obviously gonna
And I
get
was like,
some.
"Wow, look at this dynamic. Look at the change." Normally it was the other way around. The guys would be catcalling, um, and the woman would kind of blush, and then eventually it got to this is harassment. But now, because of Me Too and all these different things, guys, they don't know if they should be approaching anymore because you don't want her to say he's a creep.
Mm,
Obviously,
yeah,
you've been out the game for some time,
exactly.
but it's obviously, I don't know. I'm not gonna pretend like I've had a problem with these things. It's like it would be absurd for me to even say that because I've approached and I've been approached.
Yeah.
It's to me, I sometimes would even feel a bit sorry for the other dudes who like because you don't necessarily have to be like a good looking guy, but
No, you don't.
there's certain things like if you have aura, like they're gonna approach you. Whether you are. I've even seen fat guys who have aura and chicks approach them.
Yeah.
Uh, so, but if you don't have that and you work out and you've got money, that's the saddest, dude. That's
Right.
really where I'm like, "Ooh, I don't know what to tell you, brother. You've got money, and you know people like this. You've got money, you're doing well for yourself, you're in good shape, you're established, and you have no idea how to talk to him. You don't even understand how we listening from back here can hear how stupid you sound and how desperate you sound and how she can see right through you.
Um,
Uh,
I think the
and
issue is not that I want to now start coaching men on how to do it.
dude, if you have experience, talk about it. Maybe someone can learn something. You never know, dude.
Look, the first thing you have to
Maybe I
know,
can learn something.
Yeah, of course, the first thing you have to know is that being sure of yourself, and being sure of yourself doesn't mean being full of yourself, but it means knowing what you want, what you don't want, what you like, what you don't like. You know, it means being mature,
You know
basically.
what I think it comes down to is being authentic,
Yeah,
however that
authentic.
presents itself.
Exactly. You know.
Where you
And
get some
if you
dudes
can,
who are
try to be
shy.
black. Try to be light-skinned black.
Dude, that's the thing. Like I told you, a lot of the black guys I hung out with, the way they approach, they make you feel like
You're
you're not a
taking,
man, bro.
yeah, you're taking too
They're
long,
like,
man.
you're taking long. Like, why do you still need to do this, that, and the other? Go talk to her.
Yeah.
Why are you telling me that you like her? Go talk to her.
Yes, of course.
And then, they put the arm on the wall and they immediately go into that pickup mode where it's flirtatious and you're looking good and is that a new cologne? Your hair looks great. It's like, then I see, and I'm not knocking white dudes, but a lot of white guys don't do that, you
Anymore,
know?
yeah.
No, not that I've seen, right? Um, Even with colored guys. And it's interesting with
Well, can you
race
blame them, bro?
because,
Because, on the one hand, you have certain people, the moment you just look at a woman and say, hey, you're really pretty, they're like, you're harassing us. And now you're the dude who's
nah, not if
harassing
you're a good
women.
looking dude.
Bro, it
Only if you're
happens.
ugly, then it's harassment.
Yeah, but you just said it yourself. It's not always about looks. Like, it's
Yeah, but
about.
aura, I guess.
Yes,
Aura,
it
yeah.
is. Like, obviously, I mean, it's not fair, but one person skips class, it's straight to detention. The other person skips class, it's like, ma'am, I had issues. And then it's like, okay, fine. The same rules aren't applied to every single person. So you go and approach someone and you're not sure of yourself. Now, suddenly it looks creepy. But just because I'm smiling the whole time and, speaking in a certain tone, certain hand gestures, suddenly it's not threatening. It's like smooth or sexy, right? This is the thing. Uh, you, it's like this ephemeral thing. Like you have to capture it in a bottle, right? If it's stale,
It's like the
it's
cat
stale.
string theory.
The what?
Oh, that's probably not even right.
The
Like I think cat string theory is like got to do with quantum physics, but it's like when you play with a cat with a string,
okay.
right? You you are very elusive. You're present, but you're elusive. You
Mm.
see, and you let the cat come to you. As soon as you go to the cat, it runs away. Um, and it's kind of that same dynamic, but really I've seen guys who are very shy dudes. They're not going to go and speak like that, but they are authentically themselves. And it's boom, the aura is on
Yeah.
and they get approached. And even while they get approached, they're acting shy. A girl will be like trying to
Oh yeah,
grab
I know
them
that
and
ploy
they're
all too
covering
well.
themselves up, but they're doing it authentically. I've done it many times where I'm like, no, don't touch me. But it's such a why not? And then, it's everything obviously escalates there through
Yeah.
like, escalation essentially. But the thing is, you know what it is? I learned something very interesting from Dante Nero, right?
Who's that?
And I was like, he's a comedian, but I don't really listen to those types of podcasts where they give advice to dudes because like I said, I've never needed it. Not to gas myself up, but because I've never been scared to make myself look like a fool. So even if it's like, oh, none of you guys have the guts to approach her, I will be the idiot who goes and does it anyways. Like, and then it's like, oh man, she actually likes me. You know what I mean?
Mm.
Where someone else might not even do that because they're too shy or something. I'm
Honestly,
not scared to put myself out there and look like a fool, and then at least be like, yo, well, I at least went up to her. What are you guys talking about? You sat here. But my point is, what I'm saying is that it's what Dante Nero was saying was that every single day, if you want to get like good with women, every single day, go and give 5 compliments to 5 different chicks. And it's not crazy stuff, you know? It can literally just be something that she's wearing or something.
and try not to do
Oh,
it at the
those
gym.
type of shoe, not at the gym, or like, remember, even at the gym, if you're walking past someone and maybe you see them there often, there's a way you can do it where you can say something like,
Nice glutes.
um, imagine you got a thick ass.
Look at
No,
them
no,
dead
but
ass. No.
you got thick old bitties. No, so basically you can say like, you can even say, I admire how much like you show up at the gym. Something like that. It doesn't have
Yeah,
to
yeah,
even
of
be
course. Like
anything
you're a
to
real
do with a look.
workhorse. You're a real workhorse. Nice.
Best in show. You got strong gums.
Yeah. Start pulling on, tugging on the teeth. Yes, it did.
I used to do that at like trance parties actually.
Dude, have you
Um,
seen this movie Fixed? No, I told you about
you
it.
told me about it with the dogs.
Yes, it's
But
on
wait, like,
Netflix.
before we jump to that, what I
Okay.
wanted to say is like, and any person can take this advice. If you do that just 5 times a day
Paying the
to five
compliment to a
different,
woman or to a different woman.
and not with, and with, like, I'm saying it coming from like a platonic, whatever you, however you pronounce that,
Plutonic, yeah.
standpoint of, I'm not trying to do anything. I'm just literally getting comfortable talking to a woman. That's the key. And in a way where I don't want anything. What happens after a while, do it for a month, you will immediately start picking up on cues that you would have never picked up on if you didn't do it. It's like you're staying in the game. So now you go, huh, that's interesting that I've noticed that with 3 different chicks that when I said that, they grabbed their hair.
Mm.
And that's what's known as a IOI, which is an
Indicator of
indicator of
interest.
interest. Exactly. Or like they scratch the side of their wrist over here. Um, Another one is obviously looking at your lips. So these types of things you'll be able to pick up on, and you'll be like, those, when I saw them again, the ones who touched their hair, they sort of started acting a little bit differently. They even approached me. Oh, how are you doing? Whatever. I don't understand this idea of, I'm going to go to war and I'm going to have no artillery. I'm going to have no idea how to get in there. You know, it's, you call it, you get martial arts, right? And then you get
Yeah.
what's known as Venusian arts.
Uh,
That's basically
the art of
like
making
social dynamics.
of love.
It's like the
Yeah, those.
art of love, right? Because Venus, Venusian. So that's what is, I don't understand, right? I'm going to go into this field completely inexperienced, and I'm going to think that I'm going to get success. Oh, I hope I get lucky tonight. It's like, imagine like getting onto a plane and going to the pilot and being like, yeah, you're going to take care of us. And he says, I hope I get lucky today.
Yeah, of course.
You're going to jump right off, dude. You're
Yeah,
gonna be
yeah,
like,
yeah.
I'm not gonna fly with this pilot. You know, and he's not even joking. He's serious. He's like, I really hope I get lucky.
I had some Indian food before this flight, so
Oh my
and it
god,
looked kind of
dude.
sketch. You know,
Yeah,
the
the
biryani had a
rice
funny
smelled
smell to
sour.
it, but we'll see.
So what I'm saying is, this is why there's such an issue when it comes to men and women, and they like, instead of, and then you get the guys who naturally have that, right? They naturally have that charisma, or as the kids say, the riz, but really they get that aura from being authentic. And
Yeah,
another thing, don't ever mistake the fact that, like, women are way smarter than you think they are. They have a much deeper depth of knowledge and emotion than you do. You can be pretending to be this cool guy and stuff, and they immediately pick up that you're actually like a so-called sensitive,
mm.
and then they actually attracted to that, you know. 'Cause that's what they're seeing that thing inside, and you think, oh, she likes me because I'm cool. It's like, no,
Because
she
I'm
actually
a
knows
tough
you're
guy.
fragile.
Yeah, exactly.
But this art is just completely lost. I've seen guys try pick up, and they, like, you have no idea, you haven't escalated to any type of point, and you're smacking her on her ass. And I saw it right in front of me, and I'm like, ooh, that's not good. Like, you have no idea of what's going on. And she
Yeah.
looked shocked. She's like, this guy just like smacked my ass.
Yeah.
Like, why does he think that's okay? And a lot of the time, and this is one of the problems, a lot of people get into relationships because they're drunk. That's like when everything takes place, when they're drunk.
Mm. I see
And
what
it's
you're trying to
like,
say.
so instead of like the
Well, I mean,
social dynamic.
I think that you just made a good point because I mean, if you look at a club, right, a nightclub, what's happening there usually? Um, I've seen this in all white, like in white, quote unquote, white clubs, black clubs. It's always the same. There's some dudes trying to buy some girl some drinks. Like he's trying to offer up something. Like, hey, I can provide alcohol. Can you provide sex?
Oh, it's
Maybe.
such a weak
Yeah,
bartering.
yeah, it is. It's such a weak
It's
bargaining
so
chip.
pathetic, dude.
But you
Yeah,
know, it happens,
bargainingship.
and you see it all the time. Or you see this like, I need to be drunk enough so that I can put my shame aside and just talk to this girl, even if she smacks me in the face, right? Or keeps telling me, "You're too close, get back."
Yeah.
You see, because that I've also seen, and also,
Dude,
of
I was
course,
across the room walking to this beautiful girl, and
uh,
she looked up at me and she just waved me off, like, don't even come close. And I just literally immediately shriveled up, down there and
shit.
above, and I just
Wait, you know.
walked away, dude.
Wait. You, you went. Okay.
She
Let's
just
set
went like
this.
that with her hand. Like, don't even come here. And I was far away, dude. Yo, I remember
but
it so
but you
well,
see,
dude.
this is the thing. Um, if you were a man doing that to a woman, they would call you an asshole, right? But you better shut up and take it. That's the thing. Like, I've also done that where a girl tries to talk to me and I have zero interest and I just turn my shoulder like that. But then people come to me and are like, oh my gosh, what's wrong with you? You know, she likes you. Like, yeah, but okay, now what am I supposed to do about it? Then suddenly I'm an asshole. So, whereas yours is just a funny story we have to accept, right? Um, but I mean, you
But
see,
the thing is, I will never turn away from any chick. because, like I said before, is that even if she's not what I would consider attractive, I'm getting comfortable even if she's like hitting on me. Even if
Mm.
it's like, okay, at least I'm just gonna talk to her and she's gonna say what she's gonna say. I'm getting more and more comfortable. And what people also don't understand is like now you are pre-selected. So if a girl walks into the place, you at least talking to a chick, whether or not they consider them attractive or not.
Okay.
And a lot of the times, you don't even know how a chick that you consider beautiful might even be thinking. She might be like, "Oh my gosh, the girl he's talking to is dressed so nicely.
Mm, mm, mm.
I should have gotten dressed up." They're not even looking at like maybe she's overweight or something like that.
Yeah, I agree with you there, but I have to put in brackets to my story, or what I just my example is that um I do have asshole modes that I would get into on certain nights where I don't care. Even you could be a model, I don't care. I don't care. I'm here today, I'm gonna have fun, and at the end of the event, I'll leave with someone. So when I was in those modes and I'm not in the mood to talk, because
When
and
the
it has nothing to do with
NEDs kick in
necessarily,
hard.
it has nothing to do with even the the person being attractive or not. It's just I'm not in the mood right now. Then I'll just turn away. That's when you're being called an asshole. Um, but I mean, we never know. Maybe some of her friends were also like, "Oh my gosh, Becky, what did you just do? That's so rude. You waved him away like he's a servant." Um, but I also want to bring up the
Man,
fact that
I don't know why I brought it up. I'm feeling it all over. Dude, she was so beautiful. Like,
I just like, no, we
incredibly
didn't
hot.
order that. We didn't order
Yeah,
that.
like, and then obviously afterwards I was thinking about it. And, you know, that's the problem with the direct approach. I don't want to go into too much of my old school pickup days, but this is why you open with her friend. And that's happened. It's worked for me so many times.
Yeah.
The indirect approach, you talk to a friend and you get into it with her friend in terms of you really have a good conversation. Like, and remember, authenticity and just being genuine. I understand that obviously if I speak to her, the one who's like, no, why are you talking to my ugly friend, is going to try get my attention. And that's when you've got the ball in your hand. Uh, when that's when you can say things, when she just starts interrupting your conversation and you're like, is this your friend?
And then you
Like,
start negging, like, can't you see we're
no,
having a
that's when
great
you say like,
conversation?
oh, is this your friend? She's quite forward while you're laughing.
Yeah, yeah,
And
yeah.
then she feels embarrassed and now she needs to win it back. And look, it's obviously, this is just how it works, like obviously if you say it, then people go like, oh, like what do you, this is a manipulation and all these things. But no, that takes place anyways, you know, even if you don't write it down and be like, oh, did you know that at this moment when this happened and this happened and, you know, I opened the two set, and then after DHV, I negged her, and then I bounced with a friend, and then I joined another two set, and I came pre-selected. Like, yes, there's formula and all that type of things, but at the same time, that's happening anyways.
Yeah.
Um, so what I'm saying is like leave all that stuff that I just said. Just get comfortable with a woman in general. Be nice, and then you'll be able to notice the cues, and that's when you'll be able to use it to your advantage. Like, oh, this chick is kind of into me. I think she's pretty, but I know. Relax. Be a little bit aloof in this moment. I don't just jump in because she's showing a bit of interest.
Mm,
Just be calm,
yeah.
authentic but calm. Uh, but anyways, yeah. very strange. I didn't think we would jump into that,
You,
but it's definitely
but you know what's interesting? This dynamic, the science of studying human relations, it's actually been exploited quite often. Point in case, or good example, Russian spies. Right? I
Russian spies.
yes, I spoke to you some few days ago about how there's this actually there's a channel on YouTube, Christo Files or something. This guy and his team, they're based in Vienna, Austria, and it seems like they are like professional spy busters. So they're just like investigating Russian spies and cases around surrounding them. I think they publish papers as well, or articles, about like that. And this is interesting. Remember, we once spoke about that one Russian journalist was poisoned, Navalny, Andrei
I
Navalny
do
or
remember
something.
something like that you
Yeah,
mentioned.
and so anyway, these guys they even uncovered many spies before, and it will often be women, yes, who are somehow embedded in Italian or Bulgarian or whatever society. Usually, it's Western European societies. Um, to try and extract information, to try and find people who are in precarious financial or other situations, and then exploit that to some kind of political gain or other. Um, and of
So they
course,
basically like infiltrate like high society for information and maybe leverage.
yeah, in high society can mean wealthy, can mean academia, right? Because,
Yeah.
of course, academia gives you access to certain research and things like that, which is important, proprietary information as well. Um, and in those cases, you've got some 50-year-old or even 38, doesn't matter how old really, man who doesn't have success with women. And they realize, aha, this guy is important. He might know things or has access to things. Enter beautiful Eastern European woman. Oh, you're so
Lord of
charming. You're so...
mercy.
And suddenly, this guy is spilling the secrets, bro. And not only that. um,
Yeah, exactly. He's
yes.
spilling the secret sauce. If you were gonna get me, that's how you would get me. I'm putting it out there right now. If that's how you're gonna get me,
If
it's
anyone
going
needs
to
hearing
be with
this,
if it's going to be with a beautiful Slavic woman, even with like a tinge of the accent. I mean, it happened to me once at a strip club. But anyways, that's neither here nor there. But um, that's how you would get me. So I because it's like you said, and it's literally tying back into our previous point about the fact that you can have all the success in all these other places, but really, as a man, what do we consider to be success? Because really, with money, any one of us can make money, right? If we like the right deal comes along, if we position ourselves in the right place. But we kind of look at that like it's like a motivation, right? Like, okay, oh, he got the cash. Like, maybe you can look at it like a competition, like, oh, I need to get my shit in order.
mm,
And even with like the body is, I guess, closer, because if someone has a good body, it's like, ooh, that took a lot of work to do that. So it's even a bit more removed. But like getting a beautiful woman is like one of the highest levels of status amongst men, because that's you had to convince this other person, and it's not just another person, it's a beautiful woman, that at the drop of a hat, I would be there. If she just looked at me, I would be there. So that's like the in order like of status with men. If you walk in with a beautiful woman on your arm, most guys are gonna wanna come talk to you to see if they can get something out of you, whether that's a super wealthy guy or whether that's a scientist. They're gonna want to know like, so how do you guys know each other? They're gonna
Mm.
start breaking it down, and you're gonna see how evident it is
Yeah, yeah,
as
of
soon
course.
as they pull you aside.
There's always a question of, okay, so you like hung like a horse, eh? Like especially if you're a black guy, they're like, yeah, so you're like really, yeah, you must be giving us something,
No,
eh?
if it's a black guy, they just dismiss it. He's big anyways. Like
Yeah,
screw
yeah.
him.
Or like you said, you're a multi-millionaire, right? Or you're like, what have you got? You've got a six
Or
pack,
no,
like.
I think more it is like, what do you do? That's like the biggest
Mm.
question. Like, what do you do? But really, they asking like, how did you do this?
It's not what do you do,
uh,
how did you do?
yeah, because it's like, oh, he's an actor. Oh, he's a famous podcaster. Oh, he's
Musician,
a
rock band,
musician.
lead
Okay, it
singer.
makes sense now.
Yeah.
But that's the first line of questioning. They don't say, how rich are you? You know,
No,
they want
they'll
to
try to
know
figure it
how
out.
you got there.
Mm.
Um, and then if you're just like, oh, I'm an accountant, then they start scratching their heads. Especially when the level of status is like uneven, right? If they consider you like if a guy is a janitor, let's just use an extreme example, and he has the most beautiful chick on his arm, and some other dude is like some wealthy socialite or something, broker or in stocks, he's immediately gonna be like, well, this isn't right. And then just based off of that, he's gonna think that he can mog you just based off of his status, right? So it's like a status
Yeah,
mog.
yeah.
But then, like, if that doesn't work, then he's obviously gonna now try befriend you. Oh, so you know, what were you, or what else do you do? Oh, you're an instructor. Oh, you're a personal trainer. Yeah, but I mean, obviously that's an extreme example because yeah,
I'm
like
not even gonna bring up what it's like in South Africa because we are from a different generation. But you already know if you're black or colored, and
yeah, and you're a
you
white
you
girl.
yeah, and you walk in with a beautiful white girl who's like all on your arm. It's all kinds of things
You
come at you. Some want to immediately fight you, like how dare
yeah,
you, and others are like baffled, like just looking at you like you invented. I don't know, like you invented the atomic bomb or something. Like they're just looking at you
I'll
with
tell
this
you one of the most
amazement.
racist stories, bro.
Okay, here we go.
So
Tends
um
to happen when you've
this
got South Africa in the context. Continue.
yeah, so I there's this beautiful girl, blonde girl, white, uh like I I'm not ask her out. That's so like I don't know. It's I guess in the classic ways you could say that. Basically, I said, "Yo, let's grab a beer together. Let's talk. I enjoyed our conversation. Let's like extend it." Okay, cool. Logistics. Oh, I'll meet you here at this time. Whatever. She meets me there, and obviously she does the classic. Nothing's gonna happen between us, right? I'm
Mm.
like, yeah, like cool. Where's your mind going? But I know like chicks when it comes to their words and their actions are two different things. You know, I'm listening to what you're saying, cool, but I'll judge by your actions as the night goes on. Um,
Yeah,
and I
yeah,
was
yeah,
actually obviously right.
yeah.
But anyways, that's a different story. So we do eventually get warmed up and stuff. I even end up being on a video call with her friends, her friend group, and dude, a bunch of hotties. Oh, he's so cute. What? Because
The
now she's
validation.
introducing me.
Yes, yes. Okay.
and these dude white girls, right? Like,
Don't
and
say it like that. White girls. Okay, but I hear you.
it's my kryptonite, bro. I'm not shy to admit it. But anyways, and so I go to this club with her. I walk into the club. It's kind of packed, But the thing is, dude, I'm hooded. Literally walking in there hooded with her in my hand. And I'm like almost acting. Now, obviously, it's a colored guy with a hood on, but he's got this beautiful blondie with him. So it's like, okay, this doesn't make sense. But anyway, so I'm standing with her at the bar, and she's like, "Oh, I'm gonna go to the toilet. Can you watch my bag?" It's like on the bar in front of her.
Mm.
So as she turns away, I see her bag is open. So, but I'm standing with her the whole time. The place is packed, bro. I'm talking to her. She's like literally facing me with her back to the bar. And so as she walks, I take her purse and like I try close it. And this guy grabs me, right? He grabs me under my arm, and this his friend grabs her bag, and I'm busy. I'm like, what the hell? And these two like Afrikaans dudes, white
Yeah, yeah.
guys, are like grabbing me, dude, grabbing the bag, almost like I'm a thief or something,
Yeah, yeah,
right?
yeah. He
And
was
so
waiting
I
for her to go
obviously
so he can steal her stuff.
no, dude. What I don't know what it was. They thought I was like trying to steal her bag or
Yes,
something.
they think you were there with her. You're some dirty drug dealer, and now that
Exactly. And
she's
now I'm trying to
gone,
rob her.
yeah,
And so I hold strong. I'm tough, dude. Like I'm tough. Like you're not even though you're taller than me and stuff, it doesn't matter. Like you're gonna notice, okay, this guy is solid in his base. I can't move him. And that's already when guys start to like back off a little bit. So he lifts my arm and he elbows me twice. Boop, like yeah, on my shoulder. And I just keep staring at him. And he's like, "Is there a problem here?" I'm like, I tell the other guy, just let go of her bag. And I never saw people break like that, dude. Um, and then she comes back and like she sees I'm like but now it's like mad dogging. They just staring at me the whole time. And I'm like, I'm not moving. I've taken her bag, I've zipped it closed, and I've left it in front of me. She comes back. She's like, "Why are you so upset?" I'm like, "Nah, these guys here." And she's like, "What happened?" I'm like, "No, they think I'm trying to steal your bag or something. I was just closing it." And then she just looks at them and she's like, something like idiots or something like that.
mm.
Um, and then in that moment, I just pulled into it, dude. And I started like making out with her in front of them.
Yeah.
Dude, a minute later, I feel this arm around my shoulder. And
Uh.
they like, we're joking, man. Dude, they start
We're
buying me
joking,
drinks. They
man.
start celebrating with me. All of a sudden, I'm their best friend because now I have access to something they want,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
right? So obviously, that's what I'm saying. I have a level of status now that they feel that they need to get close to.
Mm.
All it took was just one woman. But another thing that's interesting as well was that the bartender was trying to like, I saw how he was talking to her. Like, I'm a guy like this. I know I'm with her already.
Yeah.
I don't have to worry about some other dude like talking to her or whatever.
Mm.
I can already judge her character to be like she's not the type of girl to just be swooned by some dude who's a bartender. She might use her looks to actually get us drinks and stuff,
Yes.
but she's there doing it for me, We're gonna go away. But so he was doing that like for some time, and then she was getting drinks. But then when I kissed her and he saw it, dude, you should have seen his face drop. He looked at her and immediately stopped like serving her. Like he
Gee
just kept
whiz.
ignoring her and like very dismissive of her. Yeah,
It
and then we
happens,
actually
bro.
ended up in the park, and we had to run away because the cops came there. But
Gee
that's
whiz.
so much for her saying that nothing's gonna happen. And she was the one who literally, dude, the latch of my watch broke. She was going so crazy. But anyways,
All
so what
right.
I'm saying is that it's to your point of what you brought up about South Africa. Like you got to be careful
Mm.
if in like certain towns you can't just like walk in there with a white girl and think you're the man. And no, guys are literally gonna try mug you somehow.
It's a bit trippy. But it
Give
comes
us some
to,
of your experiences. I don't know if you want to talk about it or not. I
dude.
mean,
Yeah, I
we've
mean,
all got a past.
my story basically echoes your own. Like, you know this. I had a so interesting. You know, I obviously thought that this girl, uh, blue green eyes, blonde hair. I obviously thought that she was pretty when I was dating her, but somehow the way that others saw her, I think when they saw her, they were like, "This is a goddess," whereas I was like, "This is a pretty girl." You get what I'm saying? So like,
Yeah.
I guess other people thought of her as even more beautiful, like as stunningly beautiful, whereas I was just like, "Oh, this is a good looking person." And the reason I say that is because I realized this one time we met up at the bar. I told her, "Yeah, babe, we'll meet up at the bar." And when I got
Look,
there,
just a side note, she was very beautiful. I mean, I've met her multiple times.
yeah,
We all
exactly,
went out together as well. So
yeah. And when I met her at the bar, as I'm approaching, I see some big other blonde dude like sitting next to her, or next to her, opposite her, exactly opposite her, at this table that she'd gotten for us. And I recognize this dude. Recognize this dude. I'm like, "Yo, Shaw, what's up, man?" And
name drop.
yeah, well, you know,
Doesn't matter. Screw
yeah.
him.
And he was like looking at me like, "Hey, what's up, man? Like, please go away." Right? Like, yeah, yeah, nice. I recognize you, Goose, but like, please dip. And then,
Oh, like
and
that. I'm
yes,
busy.
and then I just sat down next to my girlfriend, and he was like confused. And then she said, "Yeah, this is my boyfriend that I've been telling you about." And he looked at me. He
Wow.
looked at me like, dude, his face told a long story that like you can't put into words. Like but he was baffled, bewildered, puzzled, just like confused, you know. And then obviously eventually like stood up and went away. But first it's like he had to let it sink in that like, oh, okay, so this dude, this black dude, is not particularly buff, not buff at all, dreadlocks, and he's with
Is
this,
with a girl that I is with the level of girl that I've never been with before.
and so I was like, okay, interesting. And then of course you get all sorts of other experiences where like that's even better. I mean, colored people, colored guys, they have this thing where they feel like, okay, she's white and you're black, which means since I'm colored, I can get her because colored is better than black, right? Even though they've got nothing going for them. Just because they're like, okay, but you're
Yeah.
black and I'm colored, and colored is better than black, which means that I can get this girl. And they start trying to like chase, like, hit on her. I don't get upset. I just watch, talk, you know, and
Yeah,
then see
because
them
like
fail.
they are like that.
Yeah.
I guess my people can be like that, where it's like, oh, um, look what you've brought for us. It's like,
Mm,
what are you talking about? You know, like go ahead and try your luck. But anyways, it's just
It doesn't
this
work
is
that
what
way,
I was.
man.
It
Yeah.
kind of goes back to what I was saying earlier about the different races, but I should say different cultures, because
Yeah.
really, this in this day and age, it's, I was dating this girl. She had an incredible penthouse, or at least her parents did, and amazing, like just overlooking the town. Literally a swimming pool on the balcony, dude. Like not very like wide. I would say, hmm, like 2 meters wide, but it was more like the length, right? So it's like a splash pool in a way, but you had a pool on this
Yeah.
balcony, dude, and there was a bunch of wealthy people there. I remember just going to, dude, it's a building, and there's a red door. There's one single red door. It looked like out of a movie. And you go to the red door, you buzz. She opens the red door, and then you immediately in a garage. It's like Mercedes, yeah, like SUVs. You're like, what? Like, this looks like a family garage,
Mm.
right? Bikes hanging up. You walk forward, you go to the elevator. You buzz her again, and then she unlocks the penthouse, and you all the way up to the top,
With the
dude. And it's
lift.
amazing. You walk out the elevator into the like. You basically see the kitchen island, dude, and it's open. There's an upstairs with these winding stairs. You're just overlooking the town, like incredible. The dad was like this rich dude from Texas. Like her parents were American,
Mm-hmm.
and I remember being there, dude, and there was colored dudes from rich families, there was black dudes from rich families, and everybody was intermingling. It wasn't. They were at a level where like race had fallen away. It was very strange, dude. And I realized, oh, like the more like I wouldn't say poor, but the lower in kind of status, those things are more prevalent.
Yeah,
Of
no, it's not. It's not.
my team versus your team. It's like, no,
It's
up here we all rich.
yeah. That's something that Dave Chappelle called out in one of his specials. I'll never forget when he was talking about Trump just shortly or before, no, shortly after his re-election. First election, second election, I can't remember.
That was in his latest special.
Yes, and he was talking about, you know, seeing these quote unquote poor whites talking about things like Trump's gonna go in there, he's gonna clean it up. Yeah, Trump hears us and all this stuff. And he was thinking,
The
you have
blue
no,
collared billionaire is what they call him.
yeah, you know, truth of the fact is, Trump isn't doing any of that for you. He's fighting for people like me, Dave Chappelle, people who have
Yeah.
money, people who are rich, and that makes sense. It's probably true. Um, you know, it's it tends to be people who don't have a lot who are trying to find some enemy somewhere, right? It's the black person,
Someone to
it's
blame.
the foreigner, it's the Irish, it's the Polish, it's the Jews. You know, there's some enemy out there who's denying us. It's never the corrupt politicians who are literally stealing or embezzling money out of national funds. It's never the multi-billionaires who are insisting on paying you minimum wage when actually the profits for the year, they can just like reduce their dividend payout by a percentage and everyone will get a 20% pay rise. No, that's not the one
Exactly.
who's at
Yeah.
fault. The person who's to blame is the guy who's sitting next to you at the in the office, but because he's a different
Exactly.
skin color, he's the one who's taking your job away. It's always like that.
But look, I mean,
Yeah.
I guess it goes. What you're saying is obviously completely right, and but I think, are, are we not at a place already where like you have so many examples. There's too many examples of too many people who have made it, right? Quote unquote, made it from all different kinds of scenarios, terrible situations, whether they were black or colored or white or single moms or no parents or like whatever it is, doesn't matter. We have all these examples of people rising above, even with corrupt politicians, even with billionaires.
Yeah.
And so it reminds me of this one, it might be from the Bible even, where it's like, cast your bread upon the waters and it will come back to you,
Mm,
right?
I
So
I think
I
it's
don't know,
about
I
this.
might be butchering it.
Yeah, I
So
don't.
what I'm saying is, the problem is that these people have cast their bread upon the waters and it's coming back to them and they're enjoying the fruitage, if you will. But you can't get somebody else's bread. And that's like one of the biggest issues. Oh, I see you getting this return. Like, where's mine? You must give me of yours. But it's like, no, what are you doing?
Um, I think it's like most issues. Both are correct. Both ideas are correct. On the one hand, you have people, and you can see this if you follow comment sections all over the place. You have people who hate you simply because you have, right? The moment you have, they think it must be some corrupt, evil, satanic source. Although we know that there are many people who are now wealthy, they worked hard, they sacrificed, right? They put countless hours into something that could have been a bust, but it didn't. It didn't bust. It actually flourished. They found the opportunity. Now they're wealthy. And in some people's eyes, that makes them automatically criminal and disgusting. And that is wrong, in my opinion. You
Yeah.
you aren't necessarily entitled to what someone else has done, because I've seen this myself frequently, that you have a business proposition or an idea, you talk to people about it, hey guys, let's do this. No one is willing to invest, right? Even though some people indicated their interest, no one's willing to invest. So you carry it on your own. And then suddenly, once you've planted the seed and begin reaping the benefits, everyone looks at you and says, oh, so you did it. Oh, well, why didn't you say something? I mean,
Yeah.
I wanted to invest as well. Brother, I was talking about it for months. Talking about, hey guys, let's do this, let's do this, let's get ready, let's do this. And guess what? You missed the train. So now these are my yields, right? I've seen this. Personal experience. Because I've started businesses before, and that some of them worked really well, really, really well. And uh, on the other hand, I also believe that when a company earns well, whether you're a sole entrepreneur or whether it's a family business or whether it's a multinational corporation, you you become like a father in some instances to your employees,
Yeah.
right? If you're the CEO, like, they commit to spending 8 hours. Think about 8 hours, 8 hours and a half, 9 hours at work. You're committing a portion of your life. So, as far as is possible, you should try to, you can't make financial decisions for your employees. You can't tell them, don't drink all your money away, don't gamble your money away. You can't convince them to buy ETFs or some kind of investment vehicle. But you can at least say, look, it's not because you haven't been paid a living wage. I've paid you a living wage. The rest is up to you. You're going to have to decide what's important to you, right? and many will make bad
Dude,
decisions.
I know what you're saying,
You did,
and
yeah.
it's true. Um, because there's something that's interesting that you're saying about that, where, and I don't know where I heard this, but they said that like in the past, when you had all these like billionaires and stuff, whether it was like the Carnegies or the Rockefellers or whoever it is, what they would do is that they would be building libraries and universities and things.
Exactly.
That's what like they would be literally putting those things into
Into
society. So
society, yes.
people would look at it and be like, "Oh, but look, we got this brand new library, we got this brand new university." They were like building the towns, but you don't get that these days. None of these like when is like when last did Jeff Bezos build? Like you've got more than enough money to give back, and that's like the difference. I know that's not exactly what you were saying,
No, no,
but my
but
point in that is that yeah, like they are your family. You do become like a father, especially when you're doing well. So, but at the same time, you don't want to lose good workers. So it's kind of like that balance of, are you there trying to run a business, or are you there trying to develop the individual person? Because if you wanted to develop the individual person, you could have like language classes, where you pay for people to learn different languages. You could have it where they do like courses now and then about like how to actually invest their money in stocks, how to actually build a portfolio. Um, you could invest in that way so that in 20 years they're not just getting whatever retirement fund, what do they call
mm.
it, 401k, but like they have this money from stocks as well. Uh, but is that where your interest is, or you just like, I'm going to keep them happy enough so that my company can flourish? You know,
Well, I mean,
that's kind of where you have to ask.
no, your interest should be in having well-to-do employees. I mean, on the one hand, let's take for example America versus Germany. In Germany, because we have a social state, meaning, yeah, they're well-developed social services. If you lose your job, right, there's unemployment insurance, so you can go to job agency. They
What is
will
it, like social security, basically?
basically. So, if especially if you're a consistent worker, you've been working for years, you there's basically two tiers. There's Bürgergeld, which is like, okay, you haven't,
Bürgergeld.
yeah, it's like citizen money, like basically translated roughly. Um, if you haven't been working consistently for 2 years, then at least 2 years, then you have to go and get the citizen money, pay your rent, pay you some kind of an allowance. You also have the opportunity to be retrained for new skills. So maybe you were in a warehouse, now you want to upskill yourself and become a web designer, or you want to become a train conductor or something like that. You can do that, which I think is great because, first of all, any kind of network, a social catch net like that, what it allows,
Safety net.
safety net, what it allows people to do is, if your boss is exploiting you, F you, right? It makes it difficult for a boss to just come in and like, well, I'm gonna fire you if you don't start working 10 hours every day. It's like, first of all, that's against the law. Second of all, you can fire me. I'll go get my allowance. And while I'm getting my allowance and looking for a new job, I'll just take you to labor court, right? In America, that's difficult because, from what I can tell, your boss can give you a letter and tell you next month we're firing you. And sometimes, like with what Elon Musk was being sued over, they don't even pay you your agreed upon severance package, right? So you're literally left without a paddle. You're screwed. And that makes workers very vulnerable to exploitation, very vulnerable to your manager coming in and saying, hey, we're going to need you to work Saturday as well, unpaid. Basically, just give you more time, more of your time. And if you don't, well, there are some talks of spending cuts. So just make sure you're not among those. All these veiled
Look, I
threats.
mean, it can be done. I mean, I agree with what you're saying, but also the exploitation can also happen on both ends. And I know this personally because I found myself in the labor court uh, taking a former employer there, winning. And I also know the other end where I was taken to the labor court, or at least I was the representative and losing. You know what I mean?
Representative,
Um,
like where you are the boss.
of the company, essentially.
You're the boss of the company,
Um,
essentially.
no, no, I was representing the company
Oh,
on
okay.
behalf of the company at
Yes.
the labor court.
Yeah.
Because I was obviously involved in everything that kind of happened with the dude. But this guy, this was his play. He would exploit. So obviously, I worked in construction, and this guy. So say we go to a new town, a new area, then it's easier to take like a skeleton crew of um, technicians and managers, and we go over there with all the equipment we need, but then we hire locally, right? So you're giving back to the place as well because
Sure,
you're
sure.
creating
Yeah, yeah.
jobs.
Sure, sure, sure. Instead of
Because I mean, look,
taking. Okay, okay, sure. Let's put it that
the
way. Let's
cheaper
put it that
labor.
way.
No,
Yeah,
I'm
let's put
joking.
it that way.
But but there was this one dude, and you're obviously dealing with a bunch of different people. It was about 22 different workers. So it was a great time in my life as well. A lot of responsibility. Uh, that's when you really feel like you're a man when you're doing a
Yeah.
job like that
Okay,
because you're dealing
Grandpa,
with.
get to the story. Yeah.
Anyways,
Reminiscing
so
about the
no,
days in the sun.
there was
Yeah.
there was a one guy, or there was one guy who he was a troublemaker. Let's just say Kamsan Kwabani, right?
Okay.
And
Tamsam Kabani.
so
Ooh, that's a Xhosa
yeah, that
name, if
was his
ever.
name.
Xhosa. Can't say it.
That was his name, and he was like that. I only found out afterwards, but for the whole year up to the time when we started working in September, he had had like 5 different jobs, and he took all those people to the labor court, and he won every single time. Like
Gee
he just
whiz.
had it. He just had his play. He knew exactly how to do it. Um, and was obviously good at what he did. And then you'll realize that like the labor court favors him. It favors any employee, even if you as the employer were like you had the right to do it. It's like no, you have to follow the correct procedure, not them. Like if you like missed one little detail, they win.
Yeah.
Like that's how it works. And so you do have people on the other end who exploit it. Now I don't know if it's the same in America with Elon and all these people, but just using my imagination, I can imagine that theme is not just based in South Africa,
No, I mean,
and it happens everywhere.
of course, you have people who exploit things. Every judicial system is different, but you know, I would say South Africa is still getting that a little bit better than the US, because the US people get retrenched all the time, and they just tend. It seems like you see it in the headlines. I know you can't buy every headline at face value, but 50,000 jobs are being cut here, and then 6 months later they're hiring again. Like, what are you talking about? You're in the same calendar year and you hired and you dismissed, and it basically, it seems to boil down to, okay, we've got these people, they've now acquired a level of skill, and they may be phasing into stages of their contracts where our liability increases. So what we're going to do is we're going to let them go and hire some newbies, so that we can then pay them less again, and then we don't have to give the same benefits, like
Look,
maybe company
that's
car,
that's actually the yeah, that's actually the
partnerships.
scheme that I took the guy, my former employer, I took to the labor court for doing that exact thing to me. So he had this whole setup where um, he would have like these weird contracts where first month you would get paid, but it's more like a feeling out process. You basic you're basically getting paid to learn the ropes,
Yeah.
but it's not a full salary, right? Second month it increases, but what he does, he'll even swing you a little bit of a bonus. But meanwhile, you're still not even getting minimum wage, right? So it's like this weird thing. And then in the contract, it's like after 3 months, there'll be like not a hearing, but there'll a revaluation. You'll get that pay, and then you'll earn this amount, the pay that you were promised from the beginning. But what happens is all of a sudden, on that third month, there'll be some type of problem, some type of issue, um, where, okay, it actually looks like this is not going to work for us. And then he'll just constantly do that with a bunch of different people.
Mm.
So he constantly has new people, but he just has them doing, it's like cheap labor, right?
Yeah.
And then you do all this work for him because, dude, it's so much. It's just grinding hours, and then you all of a sudden you lose your job. You're not the correct fit. But he's doing this with so many different people and never actually paying them the actual money.
Mm.
And so I was like, no, like this isn't like you're acting sketchy. You're all of a sudden you're in Dubai. I can't get a hold of you, and then you're like all of a sudden you're telling me, oh, when I needed you, you weren't there.
Mm.
It's like, what are you talking about? You literally left the country, supposedly. I couldn't get a hold of you. Now all of a sudden you don't trust me, dude. And it's just like that. The work email stopped working. I couldn't get on Slack. I couldn't do anything. And I was like, what is going on here?
Mm.
And so I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna go to the labor court because I've been taken there. I know
Yeah.
how it works. I know how in favor they are. And so I took the contract and everything. That's the one thing I did was I I kept the contract. I printed it out and stuff. He was even wondering like, oh, why do you want the contract? Because I
What? You're
knew that.
supposed to get a contract, man. You're supposed to keep a copy of the
Yeah,
contract, you know?
but he was like suspicious when I was saying, oh, I'm gonna get a copy of that. But it's because I already knew what happened in the labor court. Like I already knew that the contract is important.
Yes.
And even when I went there, he was like, "Oh, and I'm like, I'm telling this dude because I was like kind of his friend, so like I could message him personally and be like, dude, you need to show up here." Then he's like, "Oh no, you can speak to my lawyer. They'll refer everything back to you." I'm like, dude, you don't understand. Like this is the labor court. Like these
Yeah.
people don't play around.
Yeah.
It's not something you can just like blow
Shift.
off and be like,
Yes.
oh, yeah, talk to my lawyer. It's like, no, these are serious people. You got to be here. I was trying to help him out,
Yeah.
right? And then he's like, I go into the meeting with the dude,
The
and he's
judge
like,
or the
"Where's?"
adjudicator or whatever.
Yeah, exactly. And um, it's like, and I asked him, I'm like, "Did you guys message him?" Then he's like, "Yeah, like we wouldn't be, it wouldn't have been scheduled now if we didn't get a hold of both people." And so he literally picks up his phone and he calls him, and he's like, "You're supposed to be here, whatever." And then he starts like trying to be all shifty and
The guy
weave.
on
But
your
this,
boss, your former boss.
yeah, and it's like this guy just doesn't. Obviously, he's a foreigner to South Africa, but it's like, like you don't understand how this works. Like this is
Yeah,
serious. This is
yeah,
not like a thing. Oh, I'll get back to you when they're busy or when I'm not busy. And this guy just told him straight, like, and then me and that guy, and he's an older gentleman, dude. We started like having a long conversation about, you know how it is. First they see me and they're like, "Oh, it's just some colored guy who's
yeah,
looking for bread." But then I start talking and they go like, "Oh, this guy's different." And then, he's telling me about his son. His son is also into like IT and building apps and programs, and then literally like I got my money, right?
yeah.
Um and
You just,
actually I could have, he actually gave me, I think it was 200 rand short of what he was supposed to give me.
mm,
And I had it in my legal right to go back to the labor court and be like, "Look here, he paid me 200 rand short." And they would have then, I think it would have been triple that amount they would have taken from him to
yeah,
give to me.
yeah,
Plus I would have kept that money he already gave me. And if
yeah.
he
But,
didn't do that, they would go there and they would take all his stuff. They would sell his MacBooks and everything. But
mm,
you know what? I was like, you know what? It's fine. Like, all the best. Um, I don't.
I
You
understand.
do get people who hold on to that bitterness, and it's like, nah, just let it go. It's like, what's done is done. You got your money. Cool. It's time for you to move on now.
Mm.
Um, and if you get nasty with people like that, one day someone's gonna be nasty like that to you, bro.
Yeah, but you get what I'm trying to say now. That's why that protection and even the fact, although that example of Tom Samkabane, whatever his name is, he
Sankabane.
he obviously exploited the system. But you see, that's the f- the fact that someone who's not legally educated or connected and he can access those rights, that's a good thing,
It's
even
good,
though
obviously.
he's exploiting it, right? You've had the example
And they
personally.
know he's doing it as well. It's the same guy. You keep appearing here every time. It's the boss's fault, but they can't do anything
Yeah,
because
yeah,
he's
yeah,
in his right. He knows how to. He games the system. He knows exactly
yeah.
how to do it. Force the people to fire you, um, and then get, and they pay you out a lot, bro. It's not just like, "Oh, you owe me for 2 days." Like, no, if they fire you, they have to pay you for like sometimes up to 3 months, because like they have to sort you out. That's the thing that's crazy about it. Like, you would think that, oh, but he's only been working here for 2 weeks. It's like, I wouldn't, like, he's gonna get more money than he would in the entire job by getting fired, well,
Mm,
wrongfully fired, basically.
yeah, you see,
Um,
wrongful dismissal. That's yeah, 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 yeah. But
but remember, there's a lot of little ways you can exploit wrongful dismissals.
dude, do
But
you?
anyways, construction was a crazy job, dude. I saw some very crazy things. But continue.
Yeah, I've also worked construction. Although it was personal construction. Very interesting. Very interesting. That and
So we're gonna
farming.
talk about the new COVID.
The hentai virus.
The hentai virus is crazy. No,
Hentavirus,
it's called. It's literally called the antivirus.
the antivirus.
Yeah, it's you can look it up there. Basically, it's killed 8 people. Have it. 3 of them were killed. One is like critical. This is like
But it's not called the
allegedly, in
antivirus,
my
it's called the
opinion.
hentavirus, yeah?
Oh, okay.
I don't know, I'm
But this is
asking
like
you.
brand new though. No, no, no. It's called like the people have been saying it's called the antivirus. Um, and basically, uh, obviously the way it happens, it kind of reminds me of the whole thing with the bats. Oh, it was from a wet market, like they ate bats or something. The story is giving that as well because it's like it was a couple who were bird watching in like Argentina at a some type of landfill, and they interacted with feces from a rat and they caught it. Both of them are dead. And then they got onto a cruise ship.
The hentavirus,
And
yeah.
is that what it is?
I
Oh,
believe so,
okay, I
yes.
see. So yeah, that's why the people are busy. It's the way you enunciate it, right? Can sound like antivirus,
Oh, yes,
instead of
yes, yes.
saying hantivirus. You know what I mean? And yeah, and you know, it's just
Interacting with
so you never
rat.
heard
Okay,
about it.
listen. Do you know how many people on this earth have quote unquote interacted with rat feces? I don't know, man. I feel like some of these
Yeah, you should have seen my ex.
some of these origin stories for viruses are they're
It's
like
pathetic,
bordering
dude.
they're bordering science fiction. I mean, you'll never forget. Remember that movie The Contagion
Ah,
with Kate Winslet, I believe. It was pre-COVID-19 and it told the story of a virus that also started somewhere in a Chinese wet market, right? Where a
a
rat and
succulent Chinese meal.
yeah, and and literally, I kid you not, in this movie, their explanation for how the virus started was that a bat pooped on a chicken and a bat pooped on a pig because the cage was on top of a pig's cage in a Chinese wet market. And when that pig was butchered and then cooked, it wasn't thoroughly um, cooked or something, and the virus survived, and then that's how it got ingested by human beings. And then just a few months later, years later, that's the official explanation for COVID-19. Like the plot from the movie. The You get what I mean? And like that's scientific research. And it makes you feel like, no, you just copied what the movie said. Someone was watching it and was like, hey, how about we try this
This
explanation?
is
And
a
they're
good
like,
idea.
that's a good idea, yeah. Um, and now
Well,
again,
this is why Fauci is being this is like one of the charges. I can't remember exactly the terminology. Um because he knew the whole time where it came from. That's the thing that's crazy. Um
where did it come
he
from?
even asked it came from the lab. The lab in Wuhan. And even he was saying like when people were talking about wet markets and stuff, he was being quiet about it when he knew the whole time where it was from.
Mm.
This is one of the charges of against him, and he. This is why he asked Joe Biden for like a 10-year pardon or whatever it was, because he knew that this was going to come back on him.
Did what? Did he really ask him for a 10-year pardon?
It's a 10-year something. I don't know what if it's a pardon or something like some type of extension or something. Because he
Immunity.
knew that um, this was going to come back on him.
Hmm.
It's something about information, like not suppressing information, or there's a term for it. I heard the other day, like people were talking about it, like just listening with half an ear. But
Oh my goodness.
that's
This
yeah.
is
So explain
crazy.
it there to
Okay, so
clarify.
I googled, did Dr. Fauci get a 10-year immunity from Biden? Very vague. The AI answer is yes. President Joe Biden issued a preemptive pardon to Dr. Anthony Fauci
It is a pardon.
in January 2025, just hours before leaving office. While some experts highlighted that this clemency was part of a broader set of pardons extending back over a 10-year period, starting around January 1st, 2014, to protect officials from potential quote-unquote revenge prosecutions by incoming Trump administration, it is a pardon for past actions rather than a future immunity contract. Geez, but even if it's for past, I don't know.
Well, remember, COVID would have been the past because that
Yes,
was
of course,
2020
2025. It was
from 2025. Yeah. But there is,
Hmm.
yeah, like just to clarify it, he maybe you can type that in. Like, what is the lawsuit against Fauci about knowing the origins of the COVID?
Okay. Um, lawsuit. Huh. Fauci.
Yeah, I can't remember the term. But yeah, it's just sick, if that's what you're doing. And obviously, if there's that book, The Real Anthony Fauci by Robert Kennedy Jr.,
Oh, you
RFK.
mean this guy? Guy who talks like
Okay.
this. Sorry, but it's
I think he
terrible.
has a condition.
It's very difficult listening to that guy speak. Um, he does sound like he's been
Yeah.
smoking all his life. He claims he hasn't, right?
I mean, he was like a heroin addict and stuff, dude. So,
Okay, cool. I guess there's no one better to be Minister of Health, right? Or whatever they call it, Secretary of Health. So,
yeah.
so I just Googled very vaguely lawsuit against Fauci because of origin of virus. I know it's very vague, but AI has an answer. As of May 2026, Dr. Anthony Fauci has faced intense congressional scrutiny and legal threats regarding the origins of COVID-19 and potential US involvement in quote unquote gain of function research, though he has not been convicted of any crime and was subject to a preemptive pardon. Key developments surrounding this issue include indictment of top aide. Dr. David Morance, a former senior advisor to Fauci, was indicted in April 2026 on charges of conspiracy to obstruct investigations, destroying federal records, and violating the Freedom of Information Act by using private email to communicate with EcoHealth Alliance President Dr. Peter Daszak. Wow. Congressional allegations. The House Select Subcommittee on the Coronavirus Pandemic accused Fauci of violating NIH policies by allegedly overseeing federal funding for gain-of-function research at the Wuhan Institute of Virology and for trying to minimize the lab leak theory. Yeah, these guys are, it's disgusting.
Yeah. So that's what I'm saying. It's like people,
But let's be honest, AIDS
yeah,
also, look, Dr. Fauci was also, okay, let me not use the term balls deep, but he was embroiled also at the time of HIV and AIDS
yeah, the whole AIDS.
becoming
That's what the
very,
book is. That RFK talks about that specifically in the book. And that's actually something else that he should be locked up for, right?
yeah,
And
I'm,
RFK didn't get sued, right? He didn't get sued for writing that book. Therefore, it means that it's true.
okay, I would say no one wants to open up that can of worms, which is also interesting, right? If it were I mean, if it were a hard-lined no, and you could conclusively say that this is not true, then yes, he would probably be sued for defamation or something. It's just really weird. HIV, AIDS, I don't want to be called a conspiracy nut, but I'm telling you, that ain't no natural disease, homie. That was invented somewhere. I mean, think about that kind of a virus. It could have wiped out. Why? Forget Black Plague. If there's a virus that affects people as they're fornicating, trust me, that would have been the virus to finish us long ago. Like, sexually transmitted disease, think about that.
But
Think
wasn't
about
it
that.
like the whole thing was like the gay dudes, right?
That's where
It was in that
proliferated.
community. Like there's that scene with Easy E. He's
Yeah,
like,
he's
I'm
like,
not a faggot.
yeah.
I'm not a faggot.
Yeah, that's because I think Fauci it's been a while, but I think Fauci and his team, they were trying to kind of suggest that it is a homosexual disease,
But
right?
also,
Which is
there's
part of the
also a
outrage.
conspiracy. There's a conspiracy on the Easy E thing as well with Suge Knight, which is also.
Okay,
This is obviously
explain.
allegedly, in my
Okay,
opinion, I heard
explain.
something where, like, Suge Knight had like the AIDS administered to Easy E, something like that. That's like the conspiracy. Um,
Yeah.
and yeah, you probably caught that as well.
I just saw your shoulder, like you're waving someone off,
Y-
right?
Yeah, exactly.
It happens, dude. It happens. Sometimes you're
No, no,
waved
no.
off, sometimes you do the waving off. It's the circle of
Oh yeah,
waves.
exactly. Call back to that trick. No, but anyways, I'm just saying, there's like it's an interesting. There's just a lot of conspiracies. Some of them are just crazy. Some of them make a little bit more sense. Um,
No, but I mean,
but
listen, buddy. If
a lot of the stuff in hip hop is like, what is going on here? Especially with people who get shot, and
don't
there's
just jump
obviously also
into
just
hip
like
hop, dude.
violence in those.
Think
No, I
about the
just
fact.
the Fauci thing is crazy, but it's like I don't have enough information other than that little thing that I told you.
But
Um,
do you think or not that yes or no? Do you think HIV and AIDS are man-made diseases, or they really just
of
occurred
course,
in
dude.
nature?
I don't like most of these things. I don't understand how it could be natural. Maybe something like cancer, right? Because, but even then, again, like with cancers and stuff, like our environment, of course, plays a role. The things that we're eating, these types of
Stresses,
things,
things like that. Yeah.
stress, and so I can understand that being a factor. But something that just is formed, like something like HIV and AIDS, like this thing that once you have it, it's a death sentence unless you have money, right? And now they have what's called PrEP. Have you heard of that?
Yes, I have. I have.
So where you can literally have unprotected sex if you use PrEP beforehand, and the other person won't get it.
Yeah. Wow.
Um, which is kind of crazy. It's like think about how much of that you're selling. You know, like even if the person was like quote unquote clean, like oh I took some prep today. So regardless of what happens, you'll be safe in terms of whatever prep
Y-
prevents.
Yeah. Um, something that I think, and I don't want to go on a whole spiral here, but something people forget.
Viral. What?
Spiral, viral
Oh,
spiral,
spiral.
is that, and this is fact. You can search this on your own time. If we did this, we would go down, like I said, a whole rabbit hole. But, and this is gonna piss some people off. But the only reason, first of all, you need to know something. The many of the scientists who are basically crackpots with academic degrees from the Nazi time, right? Pre-World War II and building up to World War II and in World War II, a lot of these scientists were snapped up by American institutions, American as well as Russian institutions, right? There was a whole little, there's a whole little quote that was made during the space race. I think someone said, "Our Germans are better than their Germans," alluding to the fact that our whole space program,
Our Nazis are better than their
yeah, like
Nazis.
our space programs are actually being pioneered by German scientists, because the Germans had been occupying themselves a great deal with rockets, and I believe they even sent the first rocket into orbit. I could be wrong here. Into space, unmanned or manned. I don't know. I can't remember. And not manned, sorry, but maybe they put some kind of a animal inside,
Dog
a
or a
rat or dog or
chimpanzee.
something. Yeah, and what what you can't escape is that people with certain ideologies of Aryan superiority or eugenicist ideas, they take that with them when they go to their next place of work. And
Oh, I
I've
thought you were saying into the next life. I was like,
no,
what
not
the?
the next life.
That's a
Well, I mean,
that's a crazy segue.
but it is a
like,
new life. Think about
where
it.
did you
It's
get that information?
you do take that with you into your new life. It's not like all your Aryan ideals suddenly disappear just because now you're working at NASA or you're working at Center for Disease Control or something like that, Secretary of Health. Uh,
It's the same with religion, right? You
yes,
just because you go work somewhere, it doesn't. You still have your religion.
exactly. And in many aspects, even though America fought with the Allies against Nazi Germany, within America itself, there was still this idea of racial superiority. Was an idea that had taken hold since the 1800s and was proliferating. So, really, it wasn't an idea of, it's not like America fought the Nazis because they said, we don't believe that white men are superior to all other men, but rather they were like, no, you can't take over Europe. You understand? So it's more of a competition. Like, it wasn't what people think. The Allies didn't fight the Germans because they were trying to defend the Jews. No. Or because they were trying to fight for equality of all men. No, that's not it at all. The the Germans they were not disturbed by the Germans until the Germans started knocking on the door of France, knocking on the door of the English. That's when it became a problem. But when they were doing whatever they were doing with the Jews just in Germany, it was being reported in America, and I don't think they were getting upset about it at all. You get it? So what I'm trying to say is,
I'm trying to figure out. Everything you're saying is like, it's true. Well, not true, but
but you're trying to
I
find the
agree.
thread, the point
But
I'm
I'm
trying to
no, I'm
make.
trying to figure out how we got to this. Like,
Well, we got to
you
this because
lost me
of
along the way.
we got to this because of HIV and AIDS and the COVID virus, and I think these are population control means. I think that literally
Oh,
there's some office somewhere in Langley, in the USA, where people thought to themselves, look, how can we try and reduce the population of people who are undesirable?
or is
We
it for profit?
or profit and eliminating undesirables. Because only the people who have a certain stature or status in society will probably be the ones who can actually afford this medication. Right? Consistently.
Yeah.
And the nutrition
Obviously,
of
I
it.
would need to do a little bit more, but I do, like I said, I do agree that there's some type of elitist thing of if you if you treat people like cattle, right? If you treat them like an invasive species, then you'll introduce certain things to try cull the numbers, to keep it to like a level where they aren't eating up too much of the resources, but there's enough of them to keep your profit margins going.
Yeah.
Um, which is interesting when you're just talking about people in general. And this is why these like ideas of any type of ideas of like bloodlines and stuff is dangerous. You know, whether it's Aryan or one that like someone kind of brought up to me was also, you know, this like Jewish one. And obviously, I know it's a hot topic these days. Everybody has something to say
all
about it.
types
But
all types of superiority complexes, whether it's I'm superior because I'm Jewish, or I'm superior because I'm Zulu, or I'm superior because I'm English, or whatever, are dangerous. They're
so,
dangerous.
and this is why I'm saying it. It's because if you look at the Bible says that the Jews are God's chosen people,
Yeah.
right? So that alone, um, you're going to have some people who look at that as more like a responsibility to bring it like God's word to the rest of the world because it came through them. Then you're gonna have other people who say, "Yeah, exactly. We are the chosen people. Everybody else is Amalek. You know, everybody else is lower than
It's
us.
Goy.
Is Goy."
Yeah, but look,
So yeah.
here's the
So
crazy
what I'm
thing.
saying is,
Okay.
it's like, how do you? You know,
If
it's
you
just a weird situation.
if you read the Bible, and we don't even have to go into the New Testament. We just stay in the Old Testament. There's something very interesting. Very many very interesting things, but one of them is this. When Moses left Egypt and he traveled into what we today believe was like the western edges of Saudi Arabia, Sinai, somewhere there. And it says very clearly, he met Jethro and he married the daughter of Jethro, right? Who was Jethro? Jethro was a priest of God. Now, Jethro was a Midianite. Okay? Now think about that. Jethro is being referred to as a priest of God, but he's not an Israelite, he's a Midianite. What does that tell you? It tells you that there have always been other people who are not Jewish, as we would say today, or Israelites, Hebrews, who, who were seen as this is also a servant of God. Okay? So it's not exclusive to the Hebrews or the Israelites. It's simply that the Israelite nation, through their founding father, entered into a covenant with God. So, and this is an extreme example on the other end of the scale here, but you've heard it before. Bloodlines that have been contracted with a devil or the devil or a demon, right? where, and this is more
Yeah.
common, this is more common knowledge amongst people who know something of African spirituality. Not that it's a norm, but it's actually frowned upon. But these are the stories you hear. Like, their child was, quote unquote, sacrificed to the devil so that they can attain certain riches or status in this life. So
Yeah.
on the other end, you've got people who said, no, we will dedicate our bloodlines to God. Chosen in that sense doesn't mean no one else is considered, no one else is loved. It simply means they entered into a covenant, an agreement, a contract, a binding contract with their God. And staying in the Old Testament, in Isaiah already, there's a prophecy that there's a judgment by their God, right? By Yahweh, although we should not speak that name, that they will be stubborn, they will break the covenant, and they will be scattered to the winds. Because I told you already, something that many people forget, by the time Jesus was born, the kingdom of Israel, which was the northern kingdom, there was the northern kingdom of Israel, the southern kingdom of Judah. They were once one kingdom, but then they were
Judea,
split.
yeah.
Yeah, they were once one kingdom, Judea. They were once one kingdom, just Israel. But after they split, the kingdom of Israel started worshipping Baal, right, some demon god,
And was destroyed.
and was destroyed by the Assyrians 700 years before the birth of Christ. 700 years. Think about 700 years from today going back into the past. We're talking about 13 something. Do you feel spoken to if someone comes to you and is like, hey man, 700 years ago, you and I, our ancestors were brothers? Like, okay, cool. What is it?
Yeah, I mean,
It
wouldn't
means
matter.
nothing.
Like that's
It means
yeah.
nothing. Like, it's 700 years ago. So, um, so the Samaritans, right, that the Jews hated at that time, at the time of Jesus, those were actually descendants of the Israelites and the Assyrian people mixing, and that could be one of the reasons why they were so hated by the Jews. My point being, this whole chosen people, that means that I am more special than you. Like most of the cases that you see, it's just extremism. People have taken one part of many books and they've just honed in on that, and they've decided this means I'm someone and you're nothing. You get it? Just like the
Yeah.
same way someone today a white supremacist might tell you about, you were still living in huts when we came. But meanwhile, we're in the year 2026 and people are going back to rammed earth houses because they realize that it's so thermo efficient. So who's advanced now? Buddy, like, anyway.
Do you think that is black supremacist?
Yes, they are. They are. And I'm not going to
And
make an
how
excuse.
do they operate?
Everything is, some people call them Afrocentrists, although I think Afrocentrist is a stupid term to use because you can't escape the fact that a lot of the foundation of human history has been created by people who had brown skin. But that also doesn't matter at the same time because we are all the same species, even if some of us have more Neanderthal blood or not. You can be Snow White with blonde hair, blue eyes, or red hair. Chances are your ancestors also had brown skin like mine, which should actually tell us that skin color is in no way a determining factor in intelligence, society, wealth. It's just a biological fact. light skin, you know, came about just a few thousand years ago. Apparently, the last report I read it was before 4,000 years ago, people all had brown, dark skin. That's fine. It doesn't mean that you're not white anymore. It doesn't mean that you're African now. But some people are going to try and take that and say that means black people made everything in this world. You know, like black Africans. My ancestors did everything. No,
Yeah.
our ancestors are the same ancestors. That's my point.
Dude, I've seen, but I mean, like,
It
I've
doesn't make
seen
sense what
these,
I said.
like, no, no, exactly. It's just, I guess what you're saying is that someone who's a black supremacist will say that, no, we started the world type of thing.
Yeah.
So you guys should be adhering to us. Um, but it kind of reminds me of something that, like, because there's always the debate or argument about the different size brain, and there's this other thing that they say, like, black people are only 3/5 of a human being. What's that about?
It doesn't even make sense.
And
It doesn't
I don't
even make
like.
it doesn't make
It's a
sense
joke
because
in comedy that I hear people say, but I when I heard it again the other day and I sat back to think about it. I'm like, wait, what are they saying here? Black people are only 3/5 of a human being. So what are they saying? And then it goes back to some of the other, like, more racist stuff of, like, the black man has a dumber brain, or I don't know, like, weird type of things like that.
I challenge
I'm trying
there's
to, yeah.
there's a you know what? Tell that to the white boys who are copying my Afrikaans homework. Okay? People with names like De Vet copying their Afrikaans second language homework from the black German Zulu kid who had to learn Afrikaans, and now you are copying my homework. Busy calling at me, psst, psst, let me see your answers in the test. And you want to tell me
Calling you
that
like
I'm
with like a dog, like.
yeah, and you want to tell me I'm stupid? Come on, man. Come on, man. Just relax. Like it's
um no, like,
so many holes in that theory. I mean, you're gonna go, and obviously, I know what you mean. What they do is they go to some backwater village, like the Hadza tribe, where they see people
like
cooking a
they're eating
baboon,
rabbit foot raw,
dude.
or like
I,
eating a baboon.
yeah,
The baboon's
literally.
sitting there with the arrow, and he's just looking at them, like, rushing him. He's got like an arrow here, and like he's about to get eaten. He's like, "Yeah,
Yeah, he
this is all my
knows,
day
dude.
today." Um,
Uh,
I don't know. It's like, I know what she's saying,
yeah, they
but I
take
I
that
obviously
example.
understand a human's brain. Okay, so depending on the environment, that, like, more faculties will be utilized. So, for instance, if you're in the colder climate and those Caucasian mountains or whatever, and
Caucasus
you're
Mountains.
literally battling wolves, Caucasus Mountains, um, you battling wolves and bears, and you have to try make fire, and it's the bitter cold, and you're trying to find any way to survive. Of course, in terms of, like, your brain capacity, you're doing a lot, right? Generation after generation, you have to develop, um, in a way that's different to how other people will develop. And then obviously, if you're in Africa, you might be able to throw a spear like crazy far with pure accuracy, but all around you the weather's good. There's an abundance of food. Um, so the life is a little bit more relaxed. Therefore, those people who are fighting the cold might develop certain faculties because of the environment itself, but you also developing in a different way,
Yeah, of
right?
course.
So I think it's a bit disingenuous to compare the two and then say, "Oh no, these people are more intelligent." But it's
Don't.
like, no, I think it's
Yeah,
if you reversed it and you put the Africans there in the mountains, they would the same thing would probably start to happen
Mikey. It's
because we're
it's
all
something.
human beings, you know.
Something you got to understand is that, and I like that you brought up the Caucasus Mountains and all that. We can look at a more concrete, not, it's actually quite a concrete example already. For example, the Mongolians. The
Oh, you just
Mongols,
reminded me of something I'm ashamed of, but continue.
okay, when I said
Yeah,
Mongolian.
Mongol.
Okay, I'm not gonna ask now. Um, Mo- I'm not, okay, the Mongolians, they were nomadic people, right? Basically born and living and dying on their horses in, like you described, very tough circumstances. By all definitions, the Chinese kingdom's empire at that time was far more sophisticated than the Mongols, but the Mongols were able to defeat them and conquer them, right? Genghis Khan did
But
that.
isn't that because they learned how to ride horseback and fight from horseback?
Yeah, but still, you would say, because I mean, lots of people say that the reason the Europeans were able to conquer so many African nations is because they're more advanced. No, you're just more violent. You're more. Yeah, think about it, Mikey. Europe,
Well,
in
yeah,
Western Europe,
you're battling bears and other people, like of your own people, just for a place to sleep.
for
I'm
hundreds
gonna
of
take his
years.
cave.
Think about that. For
Yeah,
hundreds of years, there's just war after war after war on a tribal scale, on a national scale, one kingdom with another in Europe, just sharpening that blade for war the whole time. And then you open the gates, and now these war dogs get to be unleashed onto the Americas and into Africa. It's like, what the heck? Of course they're gonna fucking take over because they've been basically training for war for hundreds of years. I mean, there hasn't ever been a period of wars like of peace in Europe for the kind of peace that we've known these last 80 years. It's basically unheard of in Europe, if we're being honest. And another good example is the Scandinavians, the Vikings. One of the reasons why they would keep going on raids is because in places like Norway, Sweden, Finland, I don't know about Finland so much, but I know Norway, Sweden, there's actually not that much good arable land. Do you understand? So there's a lot
yeah,
of,
they were looking to go farm or
or they have to plunder
just trying to
it.
get to a better
Yeah,
place,
they
you
have to
know.
just plunder it from somewhere. So what does that mean is you've got these people, what they do is every single summer they go raiding. That means that every single year they're fighting, and they're fighting many different types of people. So of course they're going to come there to the English, who have now had some semblance of society established for and feudal kingdoms and stuff for some years, and they're going to see them as weaklings because they fight every summer, all their men and their women, and now here you are with your soft pork belly, you even
And it's
flat-footed.
basically like jihad in a way, right? Because if you're gonna die, and it's okay because you want to die in battle because you're gonna go to
Oh,
Valhalla
exactly. Yeah,
and you're gonna go feast with the gods and you're gonna fight every day and you're gonna die and then just get reincarnated and drink with and eat with Odin. Um, so like, how are you gonna stop that?
yeah. Um, So anyway, just to bring back the
Like, I hope
point.
I die on this trip. I'm gonna die before you. Just watch. Yeah.
um, but
Um,
that's the whole thing. That's basically what brings me back to
so
you
that's
to answer your
basically
question.
your interpretation of the whole thing of like black people aren't smart.
Yeah, it's
That
got nothing to
people.
do with it.
I
It's
mean,
more,
Epstein was trying to say it as well.
but he was trying to say
Oh, Jeff.
he was trying to talk about, dude. I hate how you keep name dropping him. Um, he was talking about this though in the sense of maybe a black person is smarter, in an African is better. He knows where to hunt and get water, which I find very condescending. Um, More than that, I mean, Africans have been doing more than just hunting and gathering. I mean, they had kingdoms, they were smelting gold. The Portuguese were trading gold with the Africans. And as we all know, gold doesn't just happen by accident. You have to mine it, which means you have to be organized. You have to smelt it. Smelting is an art form in itself. So it just
Don't you just
blows.
set the rock on fire and then
No,
capture
dude.
what it
No,
melts?
no ways, dude. That's not what happens. And they've been mining gold in Africa for millennia, dude. It's
But
just
you, that other thing you keep trying to purport about the one people in Africa who have like the oldest mine of like 48,000 years old,
yeah. It's not
some made up number like that.
it's not made up. In Gwenya mine, it's 48,000 years old. It's in Swaziland or Lesotho. At least 48,000 years, and they couldn't go further because there was some nearby mining activity which collapsed the rest of the site. But as far as they could go and excavate, they were like, this is at least 48,000 years. At
But
least.
here's something that's interesting is that you have, at the same time, you've got things like Egypt, the pyramids, and who knows what is buried under there, right? You have, and I mean, I guess we're going back into this conversation of it's like, okay, cool, you guys are mining. You're literally just like collecting these things. Uh, but then you have other people who are doing things that just seem way, way more superior and advanced. So it's like, is it maybe like one of those things where, there's those tribes in the Amazon right now, they're still hunting in loincloths in 2026,
Mm-hmm.
right? 2026, while we have planes, we have cell phones, we have
Going to
all these
space.
different
Yeah.
things, right?
Mm.
And they still hunting, begging bread in a forest,
Why are you saying
right?
begging
And
bread?
people,
Why are you saying begging bread?
because like
There's people
they're
begging
because
bread
of the
right now in the city, homie. Like,
no, I know, but what I'm saying is these tribesmen have been seen like asking for food because of like deforestation and stuff,
Yeah.
right? The animals are being run off, and so that's basically what I'm saying.
What's your
Um,
question?
but what I'm
Summarize
saying
it.
is, it's like you have this. You would think that people are only like so much away from each other in terms of advancements. So um, it's like, oh, maybe we're just 100 years ahead of them or 100 years behind them. But really, it can be millennia.
Mm.
So what happens in the Caucasus Mountains, like what if that happens for like 2,000 years, and then you have the Africans who are doing what they're doing? Now you have this disparity in how advanced one is compared to the other.
Again, what I can
So
only
what?
say is this: is that um, being, and this we can take from the record of history, being societally or civilizationally advanced is not always equal to military violence. So, for example, Alexander the Great, as they call him, from North Macedonia, or from Macedonia, and then in here they also Greece. Um, those weren't civilized people. I mean, you can say what you want. We like to idolize the Greeks, but any ancient Greek would have told you that the Egyptians are light years ahead of us. Light years. And that's why a lot of the famous Greek philosophers and scholars actually studied in Egypt, in the Egyptian schools. Egypt, ancient Egypt, had public school systems, right? Public school systems when those guys were still shepherds, and had no such thing, uh, and they conquered ancient Egypt because they had plentiful iron, right? Egypt didn't have its own resource for iron ore, so that makes you weak in certain aspects. But civilization, far more advanced, agriculture, far more advanced. Even ancient Rome depended on Egypt as a breadbasket for its agriculture, for its food, to sustain its cities. So it's not always one and one the same. Like not at all.
Yeah, look, I mean, that's what they even said, that they went to Egypt and studied and then took that knowledge to overthrow them. That's like what I once heard.
Yeah, it's possible.
And then said, like, with Plato and Socrates and all these guys and Pythagoras, oh, look what we sort of came up with. But it all came from Egypt initially. Like, they ransacked them and then, it became their own.
Well, I believe that an idea, since the delta in Egypt, the Nile Delta, is literally there, and we know that the Egyptians studied everything around the delta and the flow and the ebb and flow of the Nile. I'm pretty sure that the Pythagorean theorem wasn't actually invented by Pythagoras. But there's many people who will fight me on this. But at the same time, I would also argue. So I would attribute the Pythagorean theorem to the Egyptians. Probably they were already using it for a long time. And I agree with you that sometimes people went there, studied, went back to where they came from, and there they were geniuses, but they only basically reached the equivalent of first year at high school compared to an Egyptian, right?
Yeah.
But in their hometown, they're now geniuses. They can do everything. Have you seen what Pythagoras can do? He's got this crazy formula for, you see, or Archimedes.
But the thing about maths.
I just want to say this one thing. But just because you were taught by someone doesn't mean that everything you invent afterwards is attributable to your teacher. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
That wouldn't
because
be
it's
fair
how
either.
you utilize it. Because
Exactly.
each person is different.
Exactly.
Each person is going to utilize it in their own way. I just mean, like, the thing about maths, though, it's one of those things that it's real, if that's the word I can use, no matter if people have discovered it or not, if that makes sense. So
Yes,
no
it's
one
you
can
discover it, you
actually
don't
claim
invent.
it.
Yes.
Yeah, it's already a part of
Yes.
some like the absolute. For
Yeah.
instance, like
That's very nice. I like that because it's the
numbers.
truth. Yeah.
Yeah, like numbers, you don't have to, like, you have 10 fingers. Do you know what I'm saying?
Mm.
So already there's like mathematics happening there of counting. Whatever sound you use to separate 1 from 5 on one hand is the exact same thing your brain will now develop to look at. I have 5 bananas and I've given you 1.
Why did you have to make it about
Or
bananas? Okay, anyway, I'm not even going to question that. You're trying to say something racist. I'm not just gonna leave.
I are baboon. and like 2 times 2 is 4. I always bring that up
Yeah.
because whether there's a world or not, 2 times 2 will always be 4.
Yeah.
It's an absolute thing.
Yeah, these are the
It's
invisible
never going to be
constants.
5.
Yeah.
So this idea of like, it's like, no, there's mathematics, like there's geometry, and you tapped into it and you were able to put it down. So we can accredit you with that, maybe as like discovering it. But coming up with it is like, that's a bit strong.
Yes, of course. You're right.
You
I should
can't
never
come
have.
up with maths.
No, 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 no. That was a bit strong. I shouldn't have used the word invented, but yes. Uh, but anyways, that's how it is. This is I just want to leave this one sentiment before we close off. Is I think of this last section especially is that Eurocentrics don't have a case, Afrocentrics don't have a case. Uh, you know, my advice to anyone who's light skinned is just come to terms with the fact that your ancestors were brown. It doesn't matter. It's not the only way that it matters is to show you that skin color, skin tone is not the defining factor in intelligence or relation or anything. No one would ever look at me and say, that's a European, but guess what? I have an ancestor who's white, Scottish, with red hair. Um, Obviously, it's disappeared now. That black blood. But what I'm
Yeah.
trying to say is it goes
Isn't
both
black
ways.
blood the other name that they used to call AIDS?
I don't know. I don't move in those circles. I'm sure you would know something about that.
But I just what time are we at there? I'm thinking if I should to end it off with my story about the Mongol thing.
Okay, okay, okay. People, all ears. I'm ready. Tell it. What up?
About how long have we been going at least?
We'll
So
give
I
it these
just want
last
to
few
have.
minutes, man. 2:37. We're 2:37.
Okay, I see. Um, no, it's like it's nothing crazy. It's just I was working construction as I was mentioning earlier, and this was still when I was like a general worker, and I was working with this one dude, and so they'll put you on jobs on like assignment. Sometimes if the job is like big, like I don't even know how high the building is. It is this German factory that did these. I can't remember the name. Oh, Liber something. Can't remember. They
No,
do these like
yeah, it's probably better
very
you don't remember the name. Yeah.
yeah, these very expensive tractors and uh, equipment like that. Uh, it's like, yeah, it's a very intense company, but they have this massive warehouse, and we have to climb up there, dude. And it's basically like 2 stories. You put the ladder. We have to actually tie 2 ladders together, dude. Just so dangerous,
Yeah, it
right?
sounds super shoddy,
Um,
but
dude, it's like, and the wind is blowing, and dude, you're shaking like this, and I'm like, oh my gosh, if I fall from here, you're dead, and it might be like not that dead where you just die instantly, but you're gonna be in pain on the
Yeah,
ground,
yeah, yeah.
screaming at the dude like you didn't hold the ladder. But that's the first part you climb up. Then there's another part which is probably like just one story high.
Yeah.
You take half the ladder and you put it there, and then you climb up, and then from there you do it again, and now
Okay.
you're on the roof, and we have to spray this roof. Okay,
With waterproofing.
like waterproofing essentially. And we, dude, even running the pipes of the machine all the way up there. Like, think about like the 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 actual pipe feels like the weight of, like, when you think of firefighters and you realize what they have to deal
Yeah,
with.
yeah, yeah.
Like, I was like, oh, I see now, dude. So we're talking about like crazy manual labor that I used to do, and then the danger involved, falling off from there. But anyways, I'm working with this one dude. So obviously, with a tough job like that, you become close with the people. Um, and I just remember like he would be working, and then like in the heat of the day, he would just like scream out like "Dashi," and I was like, I would be like, what the hell? And then like just randomly, I would always just hear it. You know, he would be on that side of the roof, which is like far away, and I would just hear Dashi, and then he would go back to like painting or
Okay.
whatever, and then like I think like 2 3 days down the line, like um, I just found myself saying it as well, like um, he would be there, and then I would be painting. I would be like Dashi, and then I remember like he looked at me with like these weird eyes, like almost like his face just went neutral.
Yeah.
But anyways, like kept working the job,
That's his word,
and I
Mikey.
would just, yeah, you know what I'm saying. And then I would say it like just randomly, because the thing about these jobs is you start going a little bit crazy.
Yeah.
You know, in the sun, all the fumes. You're working all these hours, and I would just say Dashi. That like just became my thing all of a sudden. And then I remember at the end of work, I was standing on like the balcony in the office because it's a workshop, and all the general workers are on the bakkie, the pickup truck, and he's sitting at the back, and like waving goodbye to them and stuff. And then he like shows me like a thumbs up, and then I was like Dashi, and I just remember him like looking down, and then the bakkie drove off. And then my friend, he walks out there, and he's like, "Was that you now?" I'm like, "Yeah." Um, because I was obviously saying Dashi or whatever. And he's like, "Oh, I'm surprised you know about that." I'm like, "Know about what?" And then it turns out that he had a son who was born mongoloid. Who actually ended up passing away, and his name was Dashi.
Yo, what the fuck?
So,
What the fuck, dude?
what are you
What
laughing
the
about, bro?
fuck? Dude, I don't know, dude.
So that's why I said you reminded me of something I'm ashamed about. But yeah, you said
Dude,
we have to end now, right?
this guy is busy. Oh my gosh. Listen, this guy is busy in agony, like screaming out his son's name, and you just figured, like, yeah, I'm gonna just start shouting it. Yeah, see, that's a rough, dude. I think we should call it quits there. That's- Yo, no, but condolences to him. I'm just
But
saying,
what are
like,
you laughing about, dude?
because that's a real
I'm
step in
ashamed.
it. Yeah, yeah, you're
I'm
ashamed.
ashamed, don't you see?
Yeah.
Um,
Okay, crazy.
but yeah, let's call it. We can call it quits there, dude. And we can end it off with a 2 minutes.
Yeah, I'm gonna
Just
try my best.
what not to laugh.
Dude, that's a great, that's a crazy one. But I could swear I have a similar story. But That one takes the cake. Anyway.
Keep it for next time. Um,
Right.
but yeah, and I know what you were talking about the doors slamming last time. I heard that in the last episode. But yeah, I'm gonna end off with the 2 minutes, just a moment of silence. I'll leave it at that for the dust to settle of the conversation. Close it off now if you want to, but yeah, I'll end it off with thank you as well. So thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.